safe space to share the journey of overcoming life's various hurdles to living your most empowered life. I'm beginning this podcast series by speaking about sobriety and the alcohol-free lifestyle. I get so many messages of kind comments and questions from people who are curious about going sober. After 16 months of sobriety myself, I was starting to feel a bit stuck, a lack of purpose, and that's what inspired me to create this podcast, so that myself and others could share all in one place about our journeys. My hope is that this podcast supports and inspires others to make a change to benefit their lives if any of these stories resonate. Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Empowered Podcast, where today's guest is a good friend of mine, Mr. James Henry Tyson.
Hello.
Full naming you. So thank you very much for coming on, first of all, and sharing your story with us.
Thanks for having me.
No, nice to catch up with you. I feel like I've not seen you for ages, and then we've had a good few catch-ups. We had the Sober Fest and now this today. So James is going to tell us all about his journey through recovery. But first, take us back to your early days of drinking and what your relationship with alcohol was like.
Yeah. Okay, so early days. I remember the first time. So as a kid, you know, when everyone's drinking,
Yeah.
I never did that.
Did you
In the
not?
park and places like that. No, because my mum always said to us we're allowed a bottle when we're at a family party.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go near a drink because she said if you ever catch you drinking, you're never allowed to have that drink again at a family party.
Right.
So it stuck in my head, and I always thought, wow, I don't.
So you did respect rules.
That
then.
was about the only one. You know what I mean? I had a rule, and I stuck by it. Yeah. So fair play, and so I always had the rucksack on my back, so I could get off and run with all the beers in. You know, when everyone was doing it at the park and stuff, and then I took a job in Barrow hairdressing, and there's like a welcome party thing. We went for a meal at a Chinese restaurant in Barrow. And I just remember just being like sat with the boss, who was quite trendy and quite cool, and I thought, oh, like I've made it here, and I started drinking the wine and thinking this is great, this is doing something for me. This, and the next minute I woke up in Ulverston train station. I was in Barrow, by the way.
So was that's like your first experience of really going wild on the drink?
Really going wild.
And how old were you then?
So I must have been 16.
Wow.
Yeah. So 16. That was like, so by the way, like I had been to like sort of out with my cousins and stuff. We always kept it, they'd always maintained
With the family,
They maintained, this is the one where I've been given a free pass.
Yeah.
And I can do what I want. And I'm like,
I'm doing it.
I didn't mean to do it. It just happened. You know, I didn't have any concept of getting that ease and comfort and then being happy with that. It was like, boom, I'm going.
Straight from 0 to 100.
And I woke up in Ulverston train station. And apparently I'd got a train, the first train from Barrow to Ulverston instead of getting the one to Millham.
Right.
And I woke up in a train station underneath, and someone give me a fiver or something like that.
Thinking you were homeless.
Yeah, thinking I was homeless. I got a train back to Barrow because I only had enough to get back to Barrow or something like that. And the guy, I seen a guy and he was like, "Come on, I'll take you for a McDonald's." And anyways, and that was my first time. And do you know what I thought after that? When are we doing that again?
Did you really?
When are we doing that again? I cannot wait to.
So it didn't scare you?
No, that did something for me that I couldn't do for myself.
Wow.
I was like, yes, this is it. Like, when are we going out again, guys? Like, you know, all my friends and stuff. So we were doing things like when you left school, I can even remember going on that do, and I didn't get absolutely obliterated then. But when I got this opportunity, I don't know, it just felt like I made it. But maybe it's because I started work.
Yeah, you maybe felt like you were grown up.
Enough. And the wine, like, who drank wine? Like, no one drinks wine when you're younger, but the wine, I was on the wine, do you know what I mean?
Thought you were a bit suave, maybe.
Suave, yeah.
Yeah.
Ego-driven, yeah. Me ego-driven.
What?
And yeah, so, and it was just like, yes, let's do it again. When we're doing it, I didn't get scared. I was sick. And it didn't bother me. It wasn't like the consequences from that episode did not make me think I don't want to do it again. It made me think, when are we doing this again?
Wow.
And then I remember going to someone's 18th, and there was a bottle of vodka getting passed around, and I just remember being at a house party and just drinking the vodka and just drinking it till obliterated. I didn't have any concept of just being drunk. It was always, I am getting obliterated or I'm not bothering.
Yeah, I was a bit like that.
That's how
I didn't drink for one or two, a nice couple.
No.
You do it to...
People blow my mind who pick up. I'm jumping forward a little bit, but I went away with my friends the other week in Devon, and they were all drinking, and you know,
You're all right with that?
I'm all right, absolutely, 100%. I have no opinion on anyone else drinking, and they had 2 drinks, and I was like, "You're not having another drink? Yeah. How are you not having another drink?" And they were like, "No, the wedding's tomorrow," and I was like, "The wedding's not till 2:30 in the afternoon. Like, why are we not up till?"
You're encouraging them to keep
3
going.
o'clock in the morning, and then even like I was expecting them to all be up, and I'll just be sat there just chatting.
Because that's what we would have done.
That's how I drink. That's how I see drink in my life, in anyone's life. I don't see it being a normal thing just to get an ease and comfort from and be happy with that. It's like we get drunk
until you can't go anymore.
Till we can't stand. So yeah, I went to this party and I remember being in a bus stop, and I woke up next minute in my bed, and I looked down, and there was a bucket, and it was empty, and I thought, done all right.
Winning.
Really, really well. Like, well done, James. And I went downstairs, and I was fresh, because when
probably
I
still
pissed. Yeah. And my mum just went, did all right there, didn't I? Wasn't even sick. She went, James, sick. 4 times I emptied that bucket on you last night. And I was like, why? What happened? She went, you come in at it was about 8:30, like, and we're going to an 18, so it didn't start till 7. And you were
already obliterated.
That's how my first starting point of drink. That was my introduction to being left to my own devices and being able to drink, and that's what I did. That's how I drank it, and from then on, really.
And why do you think that is? Because I've done a lot of thinking about why I had certain drinking habits. Have you kind of pulled at that thread?
So through some of the stuff that I've done later on through my recovery, I found out about this allergy of the body, that when I put a substance inside of me, whereas a normal drinker, temperament drinker, would go home after work, probably all week, think about maybe having a drink on Friday. I'm working all week. I'm having a heavy week in work. I'm going to have a drink.
To unwind.
I'll pick it up and I'll get that ease and comfort. And it'll be done. That's the elusive feeling they've been looking for, yeah?
Yeah.
For me, and I can only talk about me, when I put that drink in, it has an allergic reaction to my body. Yeah. And instead of satisfying that need, it gets worse and worse. And the bar gets higher, and the bar gets higher. And before I know it, I'm blackout drunk.
Yeah.
And that's
so interesting.
Yeah. It's like the ease and comfort never exists for me. Yeah. It's never going to be there that the temperament drinker drinks to.
Yeah.
I've never ever felt an ease and comfort. And if any situation where I have been drinking and I've been acting prim and proper, like trying to do it, you know, like, oh, let's just have a couple of glasses, I can do this. I'm thinking about drink after it. Like, I've stopped and I'm thinking, why we have to stop? Why can't I not just carry on drinking? Why does everyone... And in my head's just racing, thinking about that drink, and usually there's something stopping me from having that drink. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll carry on drinking.
Yeah. I think that's so important to know as well for people listening, because I've had a lot of messages from family members of addicts that are like, this is helping me to understand why they are the way they are. And like you've just described it as, it's an actual physical reaction that you're not getting that ease from, that makes you carry on. I think that's so important for people to know.
It's a powerful thing to find that out, because that gave me an understanding of why James was the way he was.
Yeah.
Because moving forward in life, obviously I DJ'd. Yeah. I was hairdressing. I was ego driven, just because I had this like, why was I ever going to fail at life?
Yeah.
Why was I going to ever have an issue with life? Because I had nothing to say I was going to have an issue. I had situations that questioned maybe some things that had happened to me that I maybe don't like, which I'm not going to talk about on camera, but that I questioned about, and I maybe thought, but it, you know, traumas and stuff.
Yeah.
That I would like to know answers for, but they don't make me who I am today as being able to say I'm an addict or alcoholic.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing whether you are taking an alcoholic substance or whether you're taking a prescribed drug, whether you're taking a street drug, whether you're taking whatever. It's that first one of putting it in and then having that allergic reaction to it instead of it giving you the ease and comfort. And when I sort of went through life with the friends. You know, I did it all.
Yeah.
I've been abroad to festivals. I've been to, you know, up and down the country to different places. I've been to parties, you know, house parties and beef and all these really good things and Marbellas and all that lot. City breaks, and every single time I would always carry on being the one who's up, and people wanting to try and keep up with me, and then just being like, wow, how does he do it? And people would say to me, "You're mad, you," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, you buzz off it, don't you? At the time,
worked hard for this.
Yeah, isn't it funny?
Weird, yeah. Just that become me.
Yeah,
I grew off that.
Yeah, and you became more of that person that people were putting on you.
I want you to think I'm mental.
Yeah.
I want you, and why? But that's because I looking back now, and me looking for my past, I believed that I wanted that because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I never went out on a Sunday afternoon to watch the football and say I'll be in at 8 and ever turn up at 8 o'clock.
No.
Never. It'd always be...
Maybe the next day.
Yeah. Well, I said 8 o'clock. Didn't say which 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? All that, like, you know, you've done it all.
Yeah,
you've said them
absolutely.
All. You've got to, you know, there's some belters out there, though. You know what I mean?
It makes for good stories.
Oh,
now you're safe and okay.
I'm safe, and do you know what? One of the things, and the reason why I'm here doing this today is because of my story is probably the most powerful tool I've got in life to help someone today. My story, having gone through what I went through, of having that, like, if you sat me down at 25 even and said, James, in 9 years' time, you're going to be sat in a room with other people, like-minded people, talking about these days and how you were different to anyone else, I'd have gone, what are you going on about? You've had too much to drink. And I'd be bad. Because I was good at naming everyone else out. I was good at calling anyone else. I always wanted to help everyone because I always wanted to deflect from James. But if you told me then, and I'd be like, give over. I was going to make it in life. I had it all set up in my head.
Yeah.
I had great aspirations. Why didn't I? Like, you know, I was good at my job. I was doing well within, like, as in the local DJing scene. So I had this ego about me. I had everything to think that I was going to be
a success
in somewhere. I always had loads of business ideas. That I've got this head. I see something, and I'm like, I've got a business for that. I've got a business for that. Never see it up through, because then I get hyper fixed on it, and then a few days later I'm like, what's the next thing?
It's gone. Something else.
But
do you think that's like an addiction thing as well?
I believe that. Now I'm no professional about like certain stuff around that, like, and I'm not a professional about addiction or anything, but I believe by the people I keep meeting, the way they talk,
and through your
through my experiences, I seem to get a lot of identification with certain people, and it's usually the ones who are head racing, always hyperfixing, trying to do something different, always like never content, always irritable, always trying to do just what's the next fix?
That's so like me. I'm always like, what? I need to find something. I need to find something. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to make something.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm finding as well, more and more from speaking to you guys that are coming on, how many similarities there is there. Yeah. So it is obviously just something that the way our brain's wired. Absolutely. Like.
So yeah, that's it, and that's what I always thought I had to be in work or out and about.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't sit with myself.
Yeah.
Unless I had a drink or a drug to take away this head.
Yeah.
So even though this head can be absolutely amazing for like making like situations, like, you know, like fantasizing about maybe a future project or a future idea, a business plan or whatever, it's great for that because it'll
yeah.
But then when I just want to have some peace and quiet and I'm sat watching telly and I'm like, you know, I'll take this away, a drink.
Yeah.
And then I'd have the drink, the allergic reaction would kick in, and before I know it, like, this is a story. So I like, not word for word, but this is like the sort of thing that would happen. I'd go to the shop on a Saturday. I've just finished work all week, right? I am going to have a drink. Of course I am. Why wouldn't I? You know, I work a lot of hours. I was doing 14-hour days. And
you did.
Know, I was a bit busy. And so I've justified it in my head that I need to have a drink tonight. Yeah. Just going to watch the telly. Go and get 2 bottles of wine. Or 3, just to make sure. To share between me and my ex-girlfriend. And we're going, just sit down. And before you know it, right, she's pottering around in the kitchen. I'm in the living room. She comes back in and there's like a half a bottle of wine left out the fridge. And she's still on the phone. Because once I've started, I can't
just
stop.
plow it in.
And then she's like, and then I'm underneath the stairs where we had the whiskies and stuff. Because at this point, I'm a whiskey connoisseur, by the way. Right? It was just so I could have a stash of whiskey or gins. Gin's another one, belter. Everyone bought you them at Christmas. Yeah, so I'd have all this stash underneath the stairs.
Yeah.
And I'd be ratcheting underneath. And she'd be going to me, James, come on, just go to bed. Why do you need to carry on drinking? I'd be like, I just want to drink. I just want to drink. Why? What's the point of me having all this drink if you're not going to let me drink it? Like, turn it on her.
You're trying to justify your actions there.
Turn it on her to make her feel bad for me continuing to drink. But if you honestly asked me that, I wouldn't have been able to tell you why.
Yeah.
I didn't know why I kept wanting to have more and more drink.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what it was all about. I didn't know about this allergy to the body and this, me once I've triggered it, I will never suppress that until enough circumstances, circumstances happen where I need to stop or like forced to, or run out of money or things like that, and that's what would happen. I had little to no control over what happened once I put it in.
So, I think you said before when we were off camera, it's 18 months of sobriety coming up for you. So, from age of 16 up until 18 months ago, things just continued to get worse. Are you comfortable sharing any of the darker times?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Just in case anybody out there is really struggling or they've got a family member that's struggling that can maybe resonate, and then by the end of this look and go, right, well, if I felt like that as well, I can get to where James is now.
Of course, yeah. And that's one of the great things about social media and stuff is that, like, that's how I found recovery. But before that, so I got to a point before lockdown where I was picking up drugs in work, during work, and because I'd be working away and I'd think, 40 hours a day, tell you what's going to take the edge off this, just a little line of cocaine. Right. And that's the truth, that's my truth. And it's not something I'm proud of, but it's something that happened, and it believed that this will show the progression. And I would have a drink with it just to take that edge off it. Because even though it put me scatty every time, I'd still pick it up.
Yeah.
And I'd do it, and then I'd be like, oh, I'm scatty now. Like, why have I done it? But carry on. And then I'd just be like facing people. And I used to say to myself, well, you've done this to yourself, so you just crack on. And I used to just crack on.
Yeah.
And then lockdown came. And my using had got really bad there. And there was a lot of manipulation, a lot of me making other people feel guilty for my using. A lot of people getting on top of me at this point.
Yeah.
Come on, James. Maybe doing a bit too much now. Are you doing it all the time? And I'd be like, who are you talking to? Who do you think you're talking to? You do it.
Defensive.
Yeah. Just boom, back up. Why you hate me? Why does everyone hate James? What's he done so badly? All I ever try and do is try and help everyone. All I work till 12 o'clock at night to try and get everyone in. Do you know, all that, like, me selfish and self-centered, because it's all about me. Not them people are just looking at me, seeing me kill myself.
And they're actually trying to help,
and they just
but you don't
help
see
James.
that at the time.
Yeah, they just want to help James. And so I'm in the... and I'm in work, and I'm using, and I'm trying to balance everything, and I'm trying to act normal, and people are saying to me, James, you're doing all these hours, why are you not buying houses and cars and all this fancy stuff? And I'm like, I don't need all that, I'm not bothered about all that materialistic thing. And the truth is I didn't have the money, because I was spending it on drinking drugs. My girlfriend, she was believing that the money that I was giving her was all my money, and I'd have another, like, stupid amount of money to one side, knowing fine well it was going to go on drinking drugs. But I had it all together.
You felt like you were running it right. And
why would I have a problem? Like, I've got a job. I had a house. Didn't tell anyone that the mortgage was in her name because I couldn't get a credit score. Because I'd just get credit out and then just leave it because I didn't give a shit. Like,
your money was going elsewhere.
My money was going elsewhere. I couldn't do it. And the unmanageability was through the roof. And and lockdown kicked in. Sadly, I split up with my girlfriend at the time, left my son, he was only 4 months old, walked out the house because I can see it now, and this is painful to say, but I believe now when looking back that my ex-girlfriend and my son got in the way of my drinking and using.
Yeah.
And I wanted to use it freely, and being in lockdown, there was everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's not something that I'm, massively
No, but that's
painful.
so brave of you to share that, James, because
That's what it did to me.
yeah, that's how much it took over you at the time.
Bearing in mind, I used to be an advocate for taking cocaine. I'd want everyone to be on it because I'd think, why you can party for longer, you can drink for longer, it's great. Why wouldn't anyone want to do this? Like, I can chat to women, I can stay up longer, I can work longer, I can be this new alter ego where I'm even more confident than I've ever been, and it was all just masks. All just masks because I was absolutely crippled inside, and that's why I looked at other people and was like, how can I help you? Yeah, I'll try and help you. Anything you need to make sure you get in touch with me because I'll be there for you.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, always thought, when I've helped them, right, now they owe me something.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I get that back off them, and it'll be in some other way. And I went to my mum and dad's. I'm depressed at this point, obviously, because I've just split up with my girlfriend. I'm out of work, so obviously that's another good one. Lockdown, like, everything was all about poor James. There was 7.5 million people in the world that were all locked down, right? But it was only me that was that it was badly done to, in my eyes. Like, I was the one who was getting it all because of, how can he do this to me? And do you know why?
Poor me.
Do you know why it was? Because I wasn't going to have the money now to get the drinking the drugs.
Yeah.
I'm going to have it. And, my mum and dad's like, they were high risk. They were told that they shouldn't be going out. And there's me just going out and doing my thing.
Yeah.
I'm going out. Where are you going? Going to so-and-so's house for a party. What? It's lockdown, James. You shouldn't be doing. I don't care. This is what it did to me. Didn't care about anyone else as long as I was getting my drink and drugs. Going to the shop and buying like 4 bottles of wine, knowing fine well that I was going to drink them. And then I remember just like having this like trophy of bottles of red wine that I drank through. And being like
proud of it.
Yeah, that's me, that.
Wow.
Getting cocaine on tick and stuff like that. That was a good one. I'm going to be a drug dealer.
Right.
Tried that once before and ended up in prison.
Yeah.
Wasn't in a
We'll go back to that in a minute.
Oh, I thought I got away with that one.
You dropped that in now.
So yeah, tried selling drugs in lockdown because that'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? A cocaine addict, but I didn't know I was.
But this was all just to feed your own addiction.
This is all just to feed my own addiction, yeah. Because I've been buying it in a little bit more bigger bulk because it was cheaper.
Right.
Instead of just buying it in single grams. Because 1, I couldn't be bothered going out the house all the time. And 2, it was just easier for me. It was slightly cheaper. So I'd just sit there, do it all in, and then just be like, what am I going to do? And obviously lockdown kicked in and I thought, right, I need to make some money here. I started getting off people and was trying to sell it, but wasn't never selling it. And then was like manipulating people into lending me money because I'm in lockdown and I'm not making any money and poor James and government's this. And then, look, mate, I'm good for that. Like, come on. The hours I work, well, think about when I go back to lockdown, everyone's going to need it. You're going to be sorted. You're going to be boxed off in no time. And really manipulating people who have been good to me all my life. Maybe did one favour for them once where I went round the house and cut their hair, so I was bringing that up.
Yeah, so they owe you.
So they owe me. Do you know them ones I was on about earlier? I'll always remember. I always knew what the tool I was going to use.
Wow.
And I just got myself in utter chaos in lockdown. But the reason why I was using at this point was because I was locked down.
Yeah.
In my head. I had nothing to do with the fact I was using probably as bad, but I had a few bit of responsibilities before lockdown.
Yeah.
So I'm like, when I get back to work, when I'm back earning money, when I'm enjoying life again, because when
You've got something to do when we're not in lockdown. I've got something to do,
then everything's going to be all right. It's just the lockdown that's causing me to do this.
Yeah, so that's more denial and
the barrier,
excuses.
The barrier moves up, doesn't it? And then I get to that barrier and then I move it up another notch. So then it's like, when I go back to work after lockdown, I'm like, right, I'm earning ridiculous money. Yeah. and I couldn't pay a single penny out because I was either gambling it at this point, or that was another thing that happened in lockdown. Thought, well, while I'm not earning money, I'll start a gambling addiction as well, because that makes sense.
And before that, you were never into gambling.
Never into gambling.
Wow.
But when you're staying up for like one of my longest sessions I stayed up for was about 8 days, and I loved it when I got to about 4 days because I get scatty and twitchy, and I was content in being in pain and disease because I loved it. Like do you know what it says in Human Traffic in the bit where the Weekenders landed, and he's like, I'm going to get more spaced out than Neil Armstrong ever did.
Yeah.
That was me. I used to do drink and drugs to get spaced out so I didn't have to feel like me. So I would be up for days. I love it. And I'd be taking Valium to bring me down, and I'd be taking cocaine to bring me back up again after just had a Valium. So I was just counteracting myself. I was just a mess. And then going back to work, I was making more money than I'd ever done, and I just couldn't pay a single debt that I'd acquired. I couldn't face, like life. It was just like that. Just felt like the world was getting smaller and smaller. People were starting to not give a shit about James anymore.
Yeah.
They were getting a bit bored of it now.
Yeah.
Like, it was just getting a bit old. My mum and dad had had enough. They had enough. They were still there for me. They were still trying. They would still try and call me out, and I'd just be like, "Who are you to call me out? What have I done to you? You don't even like me, do you?" But they just loved the son. They just could see him dying in front of them. It's so sad to think that that's where I was going, and this isn't even my worst.
No.
This is where I was just.
You were enjoying it at this point.
I'd say I've identified something that's maybe not right.
Yeah.
But I've still got a few more ideas. So as I said, that bar. So I've gone back to work. That bar's now moved to. I just need to get that debt paid off, and then that one, and then I'll be all right again.
Yeah.
And I just need to get that stuff off him, spin that, make the money off that, turn that, do that.
You're scheming.
Just manipulating, lying, cheating, just trying to pull it all together. Come on, it's just this, because remember, I was in Marbella only a couple of years ago, living my best life. Like, I was in Barcelona living my best life. I've got these memories in my head that are telling me that this is all right. This is where I am. This is where I'm going to be soon. I've just got to get a few things sorted out in my life, because it's not the drink and the drugs that are the problem. Like they're not the problem. It's just my situation. Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm just trying to get back into work. Every single excuse of why I was doing what I was doing, rather than it being the drink and drugs, was what I came up with. Like, through the roof.
Yeah.
And it was, how can I put it? I explained it once to my mum. I said, I just feel like at the moment, every time I go out of the house, the world's just going a bit further in on me. And I was getting more and more content with just being with James on his own.
Yeah.
I was getting more and more hostile to people, and I remember someone saying this to me once, and it just blew my mind, because this is how I felt at the time. I remember they said, I wanted everyone to feel the same pain as what I was feeling.
Right.
And that's how I was. I went to that place where I was like, I remember standing over a family member telling them if they got off the seat, I was going to smash the face in, because I was in that much pain. Didn't know why I was doing what I was doing, and I just had enough of this shit.
Yeah.
I'm sick of being James. Now, bearing in mind, when we're talking about the days of DJing and stuff, I was quite I thought I was quite a good, decent person. Yeah. I was quite content with myself. I didn't really have any problems in life. And I've gone from that to being, I've had enough of this. And drink and drugs did something for me that I couldn't do for myself. And then they stopped working.
Yeah.
And and ultimately I turned to crack cocaine.
Wow.
And that was because I needed something else. My solution to just dealing with all these emotions and feeling like down and stuff was the drink and the drugs, and any feeling that I had, people passing. Every fibre of my body wanted to be with my family. But my head would tell me, why do you not just go and have a line? Yeah. Why don't you just take the edge off it, have a drink, and then you're going to come back and you're going to be more available to him, because at the minute your head's racing, and I go and have that line and then not turn up again for days on end because I believed that lie that I was going to come back and be a better person, but it never happened. Yeah. It never happened, and you know, any feelings that I got was always either heightened by. So I always, because I used to heighten it with drinking drugs, as we used to back in Marbella, back at all them different places we went to. I always thought I was going to get that same elusive feeling from drinking drugs one day again. I was going to gain that control back again, and I was just going to be able to enjoy it like the normal person did. Because it just kept playing on my mind. You just need to get to this point, James. Just get to this point, and and the point moves higher.
Yeah.
And if I end up smoking crack, I'm going to stop taking drugs and then smoke crack.
Yeah, and then you move
and then I'll move the goalpost to if I ever end up homeless. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
That's where it took me. And lockdown, the second lockdown kicked in. Second lockdown kicked in, and I remember going home, and I just obliterated myself. I had all these, I was absolutely riddled in fear, because even though things were bad when I was working, I was still holding it a little bit together.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I knew that when I was going to go back into this second lockdown, it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew something bad was going to happen, but it still wasn't the drink and the drugs. It was just life.
Yeah.
I was depressed still. I still had this depression. I still had the anxiety. I was on tablets and stuff. My mum's still believing that it's because of me splitting up with my ex-girlfriend and stuff like that. And I remember, this is tough. I remember I couldn't go back to work when they reopened, and I was just, I can't remember when did they reopened the shops just before Christmas, didn't they?
Yeah.
For everyone got their haircut for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do it, and that Christmas Eve, I had my son for a couple of hours, and he come round, and I was upset. I was blagging everyone that I just was tidying my room, right? This was a hovel of my room, by the way. And I'm upstairs, and he's there for about 3 hours, and I can just hear him crying downstairs for his dad. And it wasn't because I was tidying my room; it was because I could not go and face him, because I was that riddled in fear, resentment, guilt, shame, just didn't want to be here at that point. And I remember coming downstairs and just being like, I was gone at this point. I'm smoking £600 a day crack habit, trying to just hold life together. And I'm downstairs and I'm looking at him, and he's just like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And he absolutely adored me from day dot, and I just remember looking at him and just being like, I wish I could just feel your love, man. I wish I could feel your love. And I couldn't feel anything.
No.
I couldn't feel anything. I had no emotions at this point. I had nothing. I was an empty shell.
Wow.
And my best friend she was sat on the sofa, and that's when she was sat on the sofa, and I remember she was just looking at me, and you could just see that no one knew who I was anymore.
Yeah.
No one knew.
You didn't recognise.
No, I wasn't James who was mincing down Cornwall Street anymore. I was gone. I had hair out here, my beard was out here. I'd had enough, and I was content with being that person. I'd lost my friends. Had just given. I don't think my friends give up on me. That's a wrong terminology. My friends didn't know how to deal with me.
Yeah.
They've told me that since. My family didn't know how to deal with me. They just had to accept it because they couldn't do out.
No.
My poor mum, she had a bad back, and she was sleeping on the sofa because she just couldn't sleep, and she was in and out the bath a lot. And I used to creep down past her, down the stairs, out the door, go and get my drugs, come back in and back upstairs without her even knowing, And and so on Christmas Eve, and he's there, and I'm just looking at him, and I just want to feel his love, and he's on top of me, and all I'm thinking about is, when are you going so I can go back upstairs and you feel it? Because that's all I cared about.
Yeah, it took over you by that point.
It wasn't a choice. It was absolutely out of my choice whether I was going to use, because I was just in that place of feelings. I caused that much trauma. As soon as I started getting feelings, it was like my skin just went all tingly, and I could feel feelings, and the real world started hitting me, and I was like, wow, I am not doing this. I am not doing this. And do you know what didn't stop me doing that? The crack. And I boom, hit that, and it would be like, I don't need to feel again for a bit. And that stuff makes good people bad and bad people worse.
Yeah.
So Christmas, we get through Christmas, and everyone's just like, Christmas Eve, I remember. Christmas Day, I remember getting up and just being like all shaking. Mum and Dad are trying to, they're still buying me presents. They still love me. They still want the son to be good. And we went out for dinner, and I just couldn't remember. All I remember thinking was, how am I going to get 40 quid to go and get some cocaine here? All I want is some cocaine because I can't get through this. And I ended up sat with some really, really not great people on Christmas Day. Sat with them all because they were using like I used. Yeah. And then, because all my friends had got sick of it, no one really could understand me. There was a misunderstanding because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what was going on. And I was just sat with these people who used like me, and even they got sick of me.
Wow.
Because they'd had enough of, like, why, will you just go? I'm like, oh, do we stop? I didn't know people stopped. And that's why and we get through the Christmas period. I'm not working or anything. So I've just really existing at this point. Really existing. Like, I can remember saying to my mum, I'm sick of this life, and I'm sick of using drink and drugs. And she just went to me, like, she just wanted to know where I was getting the money from, who I was getting it off, mother things. Do you know what I mean? Mother things, and I was just like, just back upstairs. The world's too chaos. Even my house was too chaos for me. Do you know what I mean? People, humans, go away. I want to be with James. And I remember I was causing trouble for myself, which was getting back to my family, and people were picking up on it. And my sister was just giving up. My brother was just like, I'd been living with him for, I'd moved in with him, and he was like, right, we'll sort you out. You need to get yourself sorted out. We'll sort you out. And everyone did the right things for me. Everyone thought they were doing the right things by, we'll give you somewhere to live. We'll have a few drinks together. Stuff like that. All the normal stuff that people do to get over bad patches. But that doesn't work for me, because once I put one in, I can't stop. So then he's going to bed.
And you're carrying on.
Right, how do I get some more? I need to go and get some more. So I'm sneaking out of his house, and I'm blitzing myself still with the crack, and money's. I'm getting probably incriminate myself here, but I'm getting grants and stuff off the government for being in lockdown, like, still. And so I'm like, I've got some. This one, when I get this one, I'm going to flip that, and I'm going to be a millionaire by next year. Because I still had ideas that it was all going to get. It was all going to be all right. It's all going to get better. There's just a certain couple of things that I need to get sorted out that are just holding me back. And something had happened with my family. With myself, sorry, and my family gone looking for information on someone else, and then I found out of that person who I would have said was lower than me.
Right.
Even though I was a bottom feeder, but my ego's still looking down on people.
Yeah.
My ego's still saying that I'm not as bad as them. My ego still wants me to think that I'm doing half all right, even though I'm living in my brother's spare room, smoking crack constantly every day with no job. But I'm still all right in my head.
Yeah.
It's bad,
You're justifying yourself, aren't you?
Yeah. Really justifying myself. And I remember I was meant to have my son, and he was getting dropped off at like 7:30 in the morning, and I turned up about 11:30 in the afternoon. And I went round, and I was like, who does she think she is, going and speaking to him about me? I've had enough of this. Yous all hate me, don't you? I don't even know why I'm even alive. Oh, you don't even care. And my son sat there, and he's shouting, nanny, nanny, nanny. And he used to always want daddy. Yeah. And he's shouting to nanny, 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 nanny. And I just went, and my dad was like, just leave, son, just leave. And I walked out of there because, now that, I'm not blaming none of that on my dad. Every right, get rid of me. I was just there because, like I said earlier, I wanted everyone to feel like I felt in my pain. If I'm feeling it, you're feeling it. And I went home, and I sat there, and I thought, right, I'm going to kill myself. And I've had enough. And it wasn't out to do with them. It was just a build-up of stuff. And I had this blister pack, and it was meant to have this tablet in it, which I quite enjoyed. And it was like all like set out for this. I don't even know where it come from, right? And by the grace of God, luckily, I had it there, and I got myself a bottle of vodka. I got myself some cocaine, and I did what I do with it to make it into crack. And I blitzed myself. Soon I set an alarm for my brother going to work. Waited for him to go to work in the morning, and I woke up and I drank me vodka, and I was doing the crack, and I was listening to Eminem, cleaning out my closet or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Thinking, just round the bend, had enough, just giving up, and I'd given up, and got this blister pack, and I just was like, just eating these tablets, just hoping that and there was this certain tablet in there which I knew would, and I thought there was more of them than what there was, and anyways, I've took them all, and I really meant it. This is like me not crying out, like I really meant it, and I genuinely did not want to be here. Right. I'd given up. I just thought my son, all I could imagine was my son walking down the street with his kids when he's older, walking past me, and he's going like, "Oh, that's your dad, isn't it?" And then being like, "Oh yeah," do you know? And that's what I imagined my son having to do. And I always wanted to be a dad. And I love kids.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop for my son. I didn't have it in me to stop for my son. And I remember just thinking, why does everyone want James in the world? There's no point in me being here. There's everyone hates me. I can't do right for wrong, and I've just given up. And I took all these tablets and finished to drink this litre bottle of vodka, and the next minute I woke up and I'm in hospital in Barrow, and they were like, I was like, what's happened? They were like, you took an overdose, and I was like, fuck's sake, and they're like, what's up? And I was like, I don't want to be here, I want to be dead. Why have you?
So you were upset that it hadn't worked.
So why have you saved me? And I went into this room to speak to this guy about health, mental health, and he was like, "How are you feeling?" I said, "I'm gonna go home and kill myself."
Oh God, James.
I genuinely don't want to be here anymore. I've given up on life. It's not for me. This life isn't for me. Things are gonna be better without me here. And he was like, "Oh, Mr. Tyson, here's these numbers, here's these guys, go and see these guys." And I was like, I'm going to kill myself. Right, I'm going on. So just let me go and it'll be done sooner. And I walked out of the hospital and I got a taxi. Now, even my family didn't, I got home and I sat down and my auntie and uncle were there and they were like, "Oh, James." And I said, "I don't want to be here. I'm sorry." And I said, I know it's horrible to say it, but I genuinely don't want to be here anymore. I've given up. And my mum was like, "Oh, come on, son, what are we going to do with you? What about that place we found in Liverpool for you? Would you do it?" Because there's been talk about rehabs. There's been talk about things. Now, I'd done a few situations that had blitzed my mum and dad's any sort of like easy access money they had. They weren't tied up. So I blitzed all that. I blitzed all my own money. I blitzed all my brother had to do X, Y, Z for me to get me out, bail me out of stuff. So they found a religious rehab in Liverpool, and I just become slightly open to something different. And everyone went in the kitchen, and I was sat there, and I was on myself, and I thought, right, how do I do it this time? And I was either going to kill myself, or I was going to go and do this rehab. And I went to the rehab. I walked in the kitchen, and I went, "Mum, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go to this rehab." "Oh, right, great, James. Right, we'll sort it out for you." Anyways, before I know it, 19th of February 21, I'm in Liverpool at this rehab. And it's a religious one, and it's free, right? Sisters found it online through some guy that's done something similar to this. And I go in there, and it was religious.
Right.
Now, I was an atheist. I had no reason to believe in anything powerful. I mean, the next minute, they're all putting their hands on me, and they're all saying to me, "Oh, God, take away all the sins that he's done," and all this lot. And I've just come off the back end of a pipe, and because I picked up again after the suicide, and I was like, "What is going on here? Like, I'm not meant to be in here. Like, this is mad." Yeah. But I'm going to do something. I'm going to get involved. So I lasted 5 days.
Right.
Too much. And now I'm not slagging that place off by any means, right? But for me,
it's not right for your journey.
It wasn't right for me. Yeah. So I walked away, and I remember I phoned me.
During them 5 days, though, sorry to interrupt you, there was no using.
No using.
Right.
No, you're locked in. you're locked in, it's lockdown. Again, they've kicked in another new lockdown at me. So I'm locked in, it's lockdown. And they're just like, James, I said, how do you know when you're on step 2? How do you know when you're on step 1? How do you know when you're doing step 3? Because it was a 12-step program they were telling me. And they were like, God will direct you. God will be.
Right.
I was like, wow, this is mad.
Yeah, that's just not for you.
And I ended up leaving after 5 days, phoned my mum up and I said, Mum, I'm coming home. And she was like, oh, James, just give it a chance. And I was like, look, I know this is giving you a break.
Yeah.
I know it has, and I'm sorry, but I really need to come home. I can't do it. And then when I got home that next day, my mum had said, your dad had researched the Spotlight and it seemed a bit intense when he seen it. And I was like, yeah, that's, you've just seen like the churchy part where they're all up and singing. And it's great for some people, and people do recover from it, and it's there for people. And, it just didn't work for me.
No.
So, and I come home, and I was 100% adamant I was not going to pick up another substance again.
So it did kind of work in a way.
I had 5 days. I hadn't had 5 days. I hadn't had 5 hours for a long time. Unless I had no money, and all I was doing then was, when I didn't have it, I was either constantly thinking about getting it, how I'm going to get it, and how I'm going to take it successfully. Yeah. That's all my head would ever used to do to me. So, get home, and then I ended up going to cut my drug dealers there. And then I ended up getting more drugs, don't I? Oh, of course I did. Why would I go and cut his hair? And I ended up back on it for the next 2 weeks.
And did you do that with intent, do you think?
I don't believe that. No, I do. Yeah, looking back now,
don't beat around the bush.
Let's
James.
not beat around the bush. Come on, James.
That was, in your mind, I'll go cut his hair, but you had an ulterior motive down.
There's always an ulterior motive with someone like me. There's always one. I'll be your best mate, but I'm getting something out of it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? I was a good guy. Remember
what
that
do you
time?
want for coming on this podcast? What are you going to hold me to?
I've got my cup. I'm happy with my cup, mate.
So you've gone to cut your hairdresser's hair?
No, drug dealers.
Drug dealers hair. You're the hairdresser.
I wish it was my hairdressers. That would have been all right. Yeah. Yeah, I went and cut my drug dealer's hair, and I was like, you haven't got any of that there, have you? And he was like, he was like, James, come on, mate. You've just come back from rehab. Like, he didn't want to give me it.
Right.
But if I want something, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Because remember, I come over that time to cut your hair, like now. I'm sick of doing it. All I do is run around for everyone, and no one gives a shit about poor James. Like, no, I didn't know. So, and then he give me it, and obviously then for the next 2 weeks I'm using, but I'm telling my mum I'm just clean and sober. And in that time, my brother had seen a podcast about someone else doing something like this. And he said, yeah, that guy, he's clean and sober, And I was like, yeah, all right. I've been on a session with him.
Yeah.
They're all full of, there's no chance that people will come from where I've come from and they're now clean and sober. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
In my head. I didn't know about recoveries. I didn't know about support groups. I didn't know about, and he was like, no, he's done a thing. Watch the video. Well, I'm still doing what I'm doing, watching this video, trying to, get something from it. But I got something. I got a hope.
Did you?
I got hope that maybe there is something out there. And I got in touch with a guy, and he was like, brrr, down my foot, just giving me all this information, and I'm on the end. I've just been doing the crack. And it's going on, and I'm like, I'm gonna change. Yeah, that's what I want. All I've been looking for ages is just not to be James anymore. He's like, be James. You're gonna be a new version of yourself if you do this stuff. You're gonna be rocketed to a 4th dimension of existence, and all these beautiful things. And it's all sounded great, and you get peace, and you get happiness, and you get to be present, and you get to have all these amazing things. And I was like, I want it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do nothing for it.
Yeah, you didn't want to do the work.
I don't want to. I'm a crackhead. I'm content with that now. At this point, you know, I'm not doing anything like that. I'll listen to you going on about how good it is, and I want it, but I'm not putting no effort in.
Yeah,
I haven't got that time. I haven't got the time.
I really appreciate the way you word that as well, because, not to interrupt your story,
That's
people say to me, I couldn't do what you're doing. You could, you just don't want to. And I like how you're saying that. I don't want to.
Well, I didn't want. I wanted what the guy had without doing any of the work.
Yeah.
Of course I did. Like, I, at this point, still hated myself, but something had just shifted. A very, very minute shift
Right.
in my body that I maybe could get better, but I hadn't had enough. And then he was telling me about these meetings, and it was in lockdown, and where these people get together and they talk about the story and how they've recovered. And I'm thinking, oh, that sounds amazing. Like, and I was still using while I was on the meeting, so I wasn't taking nothing in, but I still would, oh, Mum, guess what? I've just been on a meeting, and she was like, oh, well done, son. And
So these were virtual, were they?
Yeah, virtual meetings. And I boosted them all up. Like, you know, and I was getting some hope back, and he seems to be doing well because they were leaving me alone now.
Yeah.
Because I was doing something and I was spouting the right stuff, languages that they'd never heard.
Yeah.
Because no one's an addict in my family. No one's been to jail except for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one's like me in my family.
Yeah.
Except for me. And, and then I found this supported living in Liverpool. And I'd been speaking to some people, and they were like, come to Liverpool. There's a spot there for you. All you need is 3 days clean, and we can get you in. I was like, yeah, that's dead easy. Yeah, because this is one thing I learned, is you don't realise you're an alcoholic or an addict until you try stopping.
Yeah.
Because you've still got control the whole time until you try stopping. And then you're like, because an honest desire to stop. So I've got an opportunity now to get what that guy who spoke to me has got. Because I'm going to learn about recovery. I'm going to learn about what I suffer with, and I'm going to get this amazing life that this guy spoke about. And I just have to get 3 days. For that, it's a good deal.
Yeah.
Not for me, it wasn't. I couldn't get the 3 days. I remember mincing around my bedroom, trying to pack this bag off me cake, hands on back to front, like twisted.
Yeah.
Trying to just pack this bag, because the first time I went, everyone was like, Rami, come on, James, you're going to do amazing, aren't you? And I think the next time it was like, he'll be back in 5 days. I think everyone had sort of, but, you know, I'm not going to do their thinking for him, but everyone just sort of pulled away a bit.
You felt it was different.
Crack on, James. We'll see you when you see you. And I moved to Liverpool. Gets there, just come off the back end of using. I was meant to get the 3 days, couldn't get them. Sat there and she's like talking away to me, having it. And now this is where the manipulation comes in, and I'm like, so I found recovery 2 weeks ago, been clean since. This is on the back end of using crack. And I'm like whittering away to her, telling her all these right words, right sayings. And she's like, oh, we'll put you in the second stage housing then. So I gets into the better section where it's not manned and there's not people around me all the time. So boom, I'm in this separate house where people have to work to get there, and I've just walked in there, and she didn't drugs test me or anything because I'd said the right things. So I get in there, and I'm like, oh, killing it. You know, the ego's like, you know, I got 5 days. I think I got day 1, I had a selfie on Facebook. Got day 2, I had a selfie on Facebook. Day 3, I had a selfie because I couldn't.
And is that how you describe the ego again? Were you posting them pictures for that reason?
I need you to see that I'm doing all right now, because everyone's seen me downfall.
Yeah.
Everyone's seen my downfall, right? And it was quite common, because I don't want it to make out as if everyone talks about James.
No, but you are a well-known guy.
But people discussed it. I think, you know what, when I did my suicide thing, I think I put it on Snapchat. Right? I never used Snapchat. This is where I believed that someone was looking down on me.
Yeah.
I believed that it made me do that. So my brother seen it, and then that's how I got found. When I did the suicide, but yeah. And then, and I was put in 14 days and all this lot of sober and clean, and I've got this guy. He's gone through the work, and he's found out what he suffers with. He's down with the facts about himself, and he's telling me what I suffer with, and he's going about that allergy to the body that I spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
And he's talking about this mental obsession where I believe this great lie every time. And I'm like, that's me. I do that because. Remember that time when I was on about my granddad passing away, and I believed that lie that I was going to just go and have that one, and then I'd come back and I'd be able to be there for my family, and it never happened. That was me. I've got loads of instances like that. Every fibre of my body wanted to be in a certain situation, but I believed a lie in my head that said to me, James, just go and take away this discomfort, get this ease and comfort that you got when you were in Marbella and you were in Ibiza and all that, and you'll be all right, and then you can be of service to others, because you're useless at the minute. And I got to 78 days, Not doing any of the actions that the guy had outlined for me. And, you know, he gave me these suggestions about thinking about others and trying to be of service to others, and because we're full of selfish and self-centered. Well, I'm like, yeah, that's me. This guy.
So is this
knows
the
me.
first time that you've clicked and connected with what someone's telling you?
This is the first time that I thought I clicked and connected.
Right, okay.
This is the first time, right? We're talking about ego a lot in this for a reason. So I'm in meetings, right? And I'm a few weeks in, and I'm whittering on about. I used to say that the mental obsession and the allergy of the body were connected and all this lot, and it's just not true. I didn't even know what I was on about. I was just full of ego and BS.
Yeah.
Thinking I knew what I suffered with. And I just wanted what everyone had, and I really did, but I just didn't want to put the action in to get it. And I kept trying to think my way out of it. And when my thinking is telling me that it's a good idea to go and pick up a substance, when it puts me in turmoil every day, but yet I still did it repeatedly over and over again, why would I trust that thinking?
Yeah.
That thinking kept telling me that I was going to get the ease and comfort that I once got when I first took crack, when it was putting me into suicide watch, but I kept doing it again. The head told me that I was going to get the ease and comfort I used to get when I was in Ibiza at Ocean Beach. But it never did that for years. But it kept telling me it was going to. So if I trust my thinking of getting out of this stuff, then I'm
It's
in
not
for
worth,
trouble.
yeah.
Well, I'm just going to be, it's just going to keep having me back to the same thing, innit? Because that's my solution to everything. Like, that's how I dealt with life.
Yeah.
The good times, the bad times, and the don't know how I felt times. I used to pick up, and for 78 days in, I relapsed back at home. I come home for a home visit, and, you know, I was on the train station to Ulverston, and it's one of the principles of the stuff that I do is honesty. And something just inside of me just went, shh, and I went, I can't go back to that house after I've used, because it's a recovery house. I picked the phone up and I spoke to the woman who run the place, and she owned a rehab, and she went, right, where you at? And I said, and she went, can you go home? And I thought, oh, not a chance. Like, I can't go back home and tell them that I've relapsed back home and then I'm back. And she went, right, because usually it'd be 28 days until you're allowed back in. But because we like you, James, and XYZ, we're going to give you 2 weeks in the rehab. Clear yourself out. Another chance at life. Let's go. You know, I'm taking this on. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to sit in that rehab. I'm going to listen. I'm going to learn. I'm going to, you know. I was in that rehab, right, and I thought I was a counsellor because I had 78 days previous. Right?
You think you know it all now?
I'm there sitting doing, like, going through this work with these people about finding the cells and about understanding that they have this allergy of the body and this mental obsession. And I'm sat there like, oh, yeah, you know. And they're going to me, James, you're never going to use again, are you? And I'm like, no, of course I'm not going to use again. You know, I know this stuff, yeah? I know this stuff inside out. And I got out of there, went home after 30 days because it was I had another 30-day lockdown where I weren't allowed to leave the supported housing after the rehab, and I spent a year, just over a year, under a year, sorry, of just in and out of just trying to get what these guys who were telling me that they've recovered from the same thing as what I was suffering with.
Yeah.
I was identifying with them, and, you know, I had differences, and, you know, I was always looking for differences, but there were certain similarities that they did exactly what I was doing, and now they weren't doing it anymore. And I was sitting with the right people, and then I was picking up chips, saying I was clean for XYZ, and then I get honest after a while because it would get on top, and then I get kicked out of my supported housing, and then they'd be like, James, right, we're giving you the last chance. We're sick of this. We're giving you one more chance. Right, okay. And I go back, and I remember I went back and I'd relapsed. I'd relapsed at home. I'd gone back through, and I took some back with me, and and I was using in my room, and then I got a phone call off my sport worker. He's like, I'm seeing you for a week, James, come down and see me. So I was like, yeah, will do. And he went, right, I was just going to give you a test. Why would, like, you know, I was like, no point, mate. No point. He's like, why? I was like, I used last night. I said, I haven't stopped. I said, I can't stop. And I was like, but I'm really sorry. And if you put me on a lie detector test, you would have believed it. Yeah. You would have believed it. I meant it with every fibre of my body. I was sick of being James. I was sick of getting kicked out of these spots. I was sick of letting my family down. I was sick of not having to then miss Porter's birthday because I weren't allowed to go home. I was sick of just being me again.
Yeah.
And I meant it. And I'd meant it many times before. And I phoned I phoned my mum up and I said, Mum, I've relapsed. And I just heard my dad in the background just say, don't fucking bother coming back here. And I was like, wow, I'm in Liverpool on my own.
And now you think, I've blown it.
I've blown it, yeah. Why have I not, my ego's been that high, why was I not doing all right? Do you know what I mean? Why am I not doing all right? And yeah, luckily I stayed with some friends and stuff, and they let me back in there. This is like the 4th time or something in this supported living.
Wow.
And they've said to me, James, can't keep doing this for you, mate. Come on. Like, you know, you get on board with some stuff. I'm like, yeah, allergy, the body, mental obsession. I've got it all, me, yeah. Oh, you will do this, yeah. Get on board with that, yeah. Means, yeah. Oh, I'm in again. Full of shit.
Yeah, you just have the gift of the gab.
Just full of it. And about a month later, I relapsed again. And I was like, wow, this has really got bad now. And a guy said to me, I went to a meeting and I'm broken, and I'm like, ooh, and they're like, oh, try this number, get in touch with these guys. And they were like, right, come and see us on Friday and we'll do an assessment with you and hopefully we'll get you back into supported living with this other company. So I'm like, yeah, you know, great, yeah, so grateful, ever so grateful for having found recovery, grateful for everything. You know, I'm BSing myself because I want what everyone's going about, this gratitude, about this freedom and this peace. I want all that, but so I'm pretending that I'm grateful, but really I'm just like, yeah,
you're just saying the words that they want to hear, kind of thing.
And I'm staying between friends and I'm in and out, and gets to Friday and I've not used. It's like 5 days, man. And he goes, James, yeah, you definitely need supported housing. Come back Monday. Don't use it the weekend. Sound. We'll get you in. I'm like, yeah, man, of course. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stay in a hotel tonight. So I got a hotel. And I get in the hotel and the first thing I did was phone in some cocaine.
Oh, my God.
Because I had felt good. Someone was telling me this was a good situation, right? So to celebrate with cocaine and wine. And then it just boom. And I was like, and then once that was it, I thought, yes, I'm going to do it. Of course, I deserve it. Just got through that assessment. Not thinking about Monday.
No.
Or thinking that I'll be able to blag him, that it's in my system still because I use that much, because I'm not bad of an addict, because I always have to be the worst and I'm always have to be the craziest. And you remember the times when I always wanted to be the one who went on for longer? That's, you know, and so I was going to tell him that it was just because I'd gone too far. And I was in the room and I was only sniffing at this point. I went down to football with the lads because remember I'm only got to get till Monday, so I'm not going to use on Friday. So I'm going to go down to football with the lads because I got in with these group of lads who were all in recovery and they're all playing football. So I'm going to go down and see them. So they're all ringing me saying, "You still come in football tonight?" Well, I'm like in the room scatty because he's not doing what it used to do for me anymore. It's just putting me in pain. But I need to go and be the face down the football, don't I? So I got down the football. And I went to one of my mates, and he's a good mate of mine now, and I'm not calling him out, and he'll watch this, and he'll think, but this meant a lot to me. And I went, I've relapsed again, you know. And he went, okay, now not again, James. And I went, oh, wow, everyone's sick of James again. Even the ones down in Liverpool now, they're not even taking the bravado. They've had enough. And I went back to my hotel room that night, and it was just painful, and something was shifting inside of me. I've just been paid. Lovely weekend. I always set up when I've just been paid, man. And I'm there in my room. I've got wine there. Got the supplies that I need. And I've used up everything bar the wine. And I'm laid on the bed. I messaged the woman and I said, whose hotel it was, I said, do you mind if I have this for another night? And I thought, I'm just gonna blitz myself tonight. She said, yeah, no worries, send over the money. And I laid in the bed and I'm like, right. And then something just come over me, man. I just had this internal collapse. It wasn't even that bad. I had money in the bank still.
Yeah, you've been in worse situations.
Worse situations. Like, this isn't the darkest point for me. This is quite a nice place for me, considering where I've been. And I'm just sat there and I'm like, all them people are recovering. All them people are recovering around me, and all I need to do is just get on board with something different. Do something different instead of thinking that James knows best. And I believe at that moment in time I had an internal collapse and I'd just given up on all James's ideas. It was not about not being at work. It was not about being at work. It wasn't about the people I was around. It's not about the place I lived.
Yeah.
It's not about the people who were around me, like who were living in the same house, who have maybe wronged me at one time. And it wasn't about anything other than the same thing that was always there, and it was me. The same thing every time we went back around the circle. Every single time it was always me, until I got rid of all them ideas, and it was just that.
Just you left on
my own, and I just went. And I got in, and I walked out of that hotel room, and I left the wine, and I left the paraphernalia behind. And no, I packed the paraphernalia, left the wine, and I went out of the hotel room, and I got a train back to Millham. Bearing in mind, Mum and Dad don't know relapse as well. This is another part of it, yeah?
Yeah.
Because at this point, they didn't know about the relapse, because I got kicked out. And like I say, they'd already told me then at that point I weren't allowed to come back the previous one. So this time, this one, I just relapsed and was like, there's no point in telling them. So I stayed in people's houses and that, like I say, got to the hotel. And I just got home and I was just like, oh, you're not going to believe it. I've had a fallout with them lot at the house. I said, you know, they just won't give me 5 minutes rest. Blagged me mum and dad full of it, because I'm really good at that. You know, I've had to be the world that you're living in when you're doing the stuff that I was doing. You know, you're just manipulating, and you're around people and you learn off them, and you become that second nature to it.
Yeah.
And I went to and I went home and I said, I explained to him, it's this. I've fallen out with him and stuff, and mum and dad were like, all right, yeah, and I think they knew something wasn't right.
Yeah.
I think they knew something wasn't right, and I got the 10 days. I phoned the support worker on the Monday and I said, look, I've relapsed. And he went, look, James, right, if you're coming in this supported housing, I need to see something from you, because you don't seem to be giving us a lot here. You only had to get till Monday. And I'm like, I've had enough. And he's like, yeah, we'll see. Right. And I get to a local meeting round here, and I just walked in and I was like, I've done it again, guys. And they were like, okay, no problem. Right. I said, just tell me what to do. I haven't got any ideas anymore. Just tell me what to do. And I just become absorbent to what the information they were telling me. Yeah, a little bit prickly still, a little bit sensitive around things, where people look to me, talk to me, because I'm full of self. But I just become, there's a little window, a gap of opportunity where it just appeared, and I just let something change inside me.
Yeah.
Something different happen. And I got given this guy who was on with the facts, like I was saying about himself earlier, and he just gave me outlines, some suggestions for me to do on a daily basis. Instead of being selfish and self-centered, try and be altruistic, try and think of others before yourself. Try and be the best version of James as you can by helping others, by being available to people, being open to some suggestions. There's a how to recover, I say, and it's honesty, open-minded and willing. Honesty to yourself.
Yeah.
Because I used to bullshit myself because I didn't want to be honest, because I didn't want people to call me out, because I have that time when I was younger, when I was belittled, and I don't want to feel them feelings again.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel it, so I'm going to lie to you because I want you to like me.
Yeah.
But it's lying to me, because what does it matter? It didn't matter to anyone else if I just walked in them rooms when I was picking that key up and said, relapse again, and they could have helped me. But I couldn't do it because I didn't want to feel less than, because I'm sick of feeling less than, because I felt less than when I was sat in my room on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Using and drinking while my son's downstairs crying. I don't want to feel like that again. I'm sick of being that. So I don't, and I couldn't get vulnerable, but I got vulnerable for the first time. And I said to people like, you know, my worst, I'm doing £600 a day, and they're going, yeah. They don't care about where I'm getting it from.
No.
They don't care about how much I'm doing. They don't care about how good it was. They just want me to get better.
Yeah.
I wanted that from my mum, but she had the misunderstanding, because she doesn't know, does she? Why should she know?
No.
She doesn't. She's not lived that life. She's not been in them places, you know. But then this is where there's a misunderstanding, and it's true. I'm grateful that none of my family understand where I've been.
Yeah.
Because if they'd been where I've been, like, we don't always make it, man.
No.
We do not always make it. You know, from like, I remember picking up a half an ounce of cocaine and buying a half an ounce of cocaine because I wanted to kill myself with it and sniffing it. And this was before I was using the other substance, and I'm sniffing it, and I was, all I wanted to do was get rid of it and to die, and then I'd be gutted that I got rid of it and done it all in, and think, well, what am I going to do now? I've done it all in, and you know, and then I tried every other way to do what, you know, to do the ultimatum of killing myself. And then obviously it's come to the tablets and that. But like I say, I got to that meeting, and I've jumped around a bit there, but
No, it's fine.
I got to the meeting, and he, like I say, give me these suggestions, and he said to me, are you willing to go to any lengths to recover?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. To the best of my ability, like. It's always got to be to the best of my ability.
Well, it has, hasn't it?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm willing to go to any lengths. And he was like, right. And one thing, I asked you, are you willing to give this away once you've got it? It's freely been given to you. And I was like, yeah. And like I say, he gave up his time for me. He told me about this physical allergy. I didn't get it the first time, but you know, after a bit of time, we talked, and he adapted the way he was doing his thing, because I'm dyslexic, remember?
Yeah.
And I use that as a tool just to be James.
Yeah.
In school, I was dyslexic, so if you were having a serious conversation and I was prattling around, it's because I couldn't sit with it, and I didn't understand what he was going about, so I could prat
That's
around.
what you blame it on.
Or everything, you know, I could be bad at football, it's because I'm dyslexic. Everything I use dyslexia for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It become a bit of a joke, but I really couldn't understand what he was going through, what he was meaning when he was going through describing this allergy of the body. But one day it clicked, and I was like, right, I get it, you know, and I found out that, like you say, when you put that substance in, it doesn't have the same effect on me as what it does on anyone, like as what it does on other people. And I can only talk about me. That's how I like to talk. So I put it in, and my history has shown me that once I put any substance in my body, I have little to no control over what happens next.
Yeah.
And I will trample on anyone or anything to get to the next one, because the allergy will be, craving will just be so elusive that
Just taken over.
Like, I need it. I've gone to some really dark places, you know, to get to it. And then this one blew my mind once I understood it, which is mad because it's in the mind. The mental obsession. That even though I have got a bucket load of consequences that have happened to me, I cannot bring it to the forefront of my memory once I get that thought about picking up the first one. So even though I've just caused absolute mayhem for my family, my mum's been crying at me, she wants me to stop using drugs, I've just tried killing myself, why would you go back and pick up that drink again or drug?
Yeah.
Why would you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't get your hand and put it on a hot stove,
No.
go like that and go, that burnt, and then think, wait there, let's just check.
Yeah.
Yeah? But I was doing that. That's the easiest way to describe it. I may as well have just had my hand on the hot stove and it was just burning my hand away, and it was because I was killing myself, you know. And I kept doing this over and over again, even though I had this love of my son who was sat looking at me, just going, Daddy,
Yeah.
Daddy. And I was like, when are you going home, man?
Yeah.
When are you going home so I can use freely again? Because drinking drugs were more powerful than the love of my son. No human power could stop me from doing what I was doing. He tells me that. So, yeah, I just got on board with this stuff, and, you know, I got this. I believe the obsession to use drinking drugs was removed quite quickly for me.
Really?
Yeah. The obsession to use drinking drugs. Now, not the thought.
Yeah.
Let's not get them mixed up.
No.
So, thought. I can be driving down the road, yeah, and I can see a guy having a strong ball and think, that looks pretty good. Yeah. And then I remember that I've got plans for Christmas, because I wouldn't be making Christmas if I started drinking on that. Because it's shown me every time, because I can see the truth in it now. You know, I had the insane thinking, and that became appeasable. And even
I've
sometimes,
never thought about it like you are blowing my mind, because I've never thought about it like that before, as separating a thought being one thing and an obsession being another thing.
Because people have said to me before, do you not even think about drinking? And I go, no, but I
You
have.
Of course you have. Yeah.
But it's not the obsession.
Obsession.
It didn't become enough to take action on it. And I've never, ever, until you've just said that, thought about that being separate.
Yeah. The thought, like, I sometimes think, like, see them Instagram stories and I think, that looks all right, you know, that in Hideout Festival and that. Because I've done all that and I loved it. It's not me though, is it?
No.
I even when I went to them places, you know, I was a mess the whole time, you know. And then when I look back, I didn't even have fun, but I needed to tell you I had fun because my ego didn't want to say no. Actually, I really hated it because I couldn't stop drinking and using drugs. My ego couldn't do that because it wants you to think that I've enjoyed it.
And I'm the
I
party
don't want to be
king.
different. Yeah, you know, I've worked hard for this name.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting on board with the suggestions, man, and doing something different, having a complete change in thought and attitude around life. What, like, you know, it's not about James anymore. It's about how I can make other people feel the same. Like, so this is, you know, when I said that I wanted everyone to feel the same pain as me, today I want everyone to feel the same happiness as me.
Yeah, I love that.
And it sounds dead corny, right? But when you've been that person really, really wanting everyone to feel your same pain, it really means a lot to be able to say that. Because I want everyone to feel good now, yeah? But when I tried committing suicide, someone has said to my mum, at least he's in a better place now. That's how far I'd gone. For people who love me.
Thought it was better.
Thought it was better for me at that time because that's how low I'd gone to. And, you know, and as a result of doing this stuff that I do on a daily basis and thinking about others before myself, and, you know, it's allowed me to become the person that I've always wanted to be, right, without having to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Without having to try and fit in, without having to try and pretend I'm okay when I'm not. Because if I'm not okay now, I'm the worst person in the world to speak to, right? Right, really bad. Because if you say to me, how are you getting on, James, and I'm not having a good day, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because I need to tell you. Because I've held it in for that long. I'm not all right. So I'll be like, look, no, I'm not all right.
But that's important as well, isn't it? That
We'd be able to talk. But people ask the question, they don't want the answer.
yeah, that's true.
People ask the question, they want to be there for you, but no one knows how to deal with it, just like no one knew how to deal with me in addiction. But I don't do it as, you know, I have a set of people today that I can speak to.
Yeah.
And as also, I do these mad things called DJing, where I DJ dry, sober events.
Yeah, so this one what I want to ask you about as well now. So we're through, you know, your addiction, your dark times. You're now in this, you've done your recovery, you're in this great place. Describe what life is like for you as this new sober James, because we were chatting before, weren't we, about, you know, you'd just been to, was it Warehouse Project, you said?
Yeah.
You've done all these things
Park
sober.
life,
Tell us about that.
So,
because people will be watching or listening thinking, well, I wouldn't have if I stop drinking or taking drugs, I won't have a life.
so
But you're proof that you can.
So there's this thing called peace, right? Dead short little word peace, right? I didn't know I needed it until I got it. Now, I'm not 100% at peace with myself, yeah? Because I remember I was telling you about all the manipulation and stuff that I've done in my past, which I am righting the wrongs of my past by, first off, accepting what I've done.
Yeah.
And also knowing that if I continue to do this stuff that I do on a daily basis, doing these actions on a daily basis, I will be okay and I will not do them same things again.
Yeah.
And I will be able to right my wrongs in due course. So I am today, instead of being James sat up in my bedroom with my son crying down at the bottom of the stairs, I'm a dad today.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know what it felt like to be a dad until I got sober, because I thought I was being a dad. But what it turned out was I was being a side hand to my mum.
Yeah.
And my mum made me a good dad.
Yeah.
My mum has been this absolute rock of my recovery. She's never, ever once turned her back on me. As she always used to say to me, boom, she used to say, you know, I'm not green in the eyes, you know, I can tell when you're lying. And I'd be manipulating her through the wall. She was, you know, she's seen the good in me. Because she remembers James, you know, she remembers the little boy that, you know, that I struggled with the dyslexia, that I, you know, that was that just wanted to be a dad that was good with his nieces and all that lot, but all that had gone. But today, like, you know, as a result of doing this stuff, I've never missed an appointment when I've said to someone, I'm going to come and meet you.
Yeah.
For good reason. You know, I'm proactive in making sure that I connect with people that I maybe haven't seen for a while, because I want to make sure they're okay, because I want to make sure they're okay.
Yeah, you're giving back now.
I want
really.
to make sure, I don't care. If
You're not doing these things anymore, and I can tell the way you talk about it for a favour.
For a favour anymore. There's no logging it. And I know as a result of doing this stuff, I'm gonna be okay, and I'm not gonna do them things again. But as we were saying about the DJing, and you know, I got into this place where I was just about to make my yearly amends with my parents, and my a guy who I know is coming to work, and he said that his girlfriend's mum had just passed away on holiday and just dropped dead. And I said to him, I said, not a chance on this earth can I even comprehend that ever happening to me. You know, it's not even in my vocabulary. I'm sorry, mate. I'm really sorry for your girlfriend, but just let you know that I can't even feel the pain, because I just wouldn't even like to be in that place. You know, that was what I felt like. And you know, it says in the stuff that we do about having no reservations, and I had to put the best of my ability, because losing a parent or losing a loved one or losing someone close to me, I don't know how I react to that. I don't know how to deal with that. I cannot imagine. My mum as I said, made me a good dad. Loved me unconditionally and made sure I had the best of what I needed. And I went to DJ at this event, and it was a woman doing a share like this, and she was on about a son getting hurt, and her daughter's turned to her and said, I'm worried about losing my brother, but I'm also worried about losing you, because if he dies, you're going to end up using, and you'll end up killing yourself. And she said, I'm not going to disgrace my son's name like that. And then I DJ'd at the event, and before I left to DJ at the event, I'd spoke to my mum, and I said to her, we'd had a general chat like we did every night. I phoned my mum every night before bed. And we'd chatting away, and she was just, and then I got in the shower, and then she rang me again, and I was like, what do you want now? And she's like, you know what, them vapes, can you order me some? And I'm like, yeah, mum, I'm going DJing, just give me it. And she's like, yeah, no worries, son, I'll speak to you in the morning. I'm like, yeah, no worries, boom, gone. And I went and DJ'd at the event, and then I woke up, and 6:30 in the morning, and to my phone ringing, and my brother said, oh, your mum's died. And right, so your mum's died. She's drowned in the bath, and I was like, what? How? And I didn't know how to deal with it, man. Like I don't know how to deal with good days.
No,
I've got given that opportunity to go into the sober living house, and I ended up picking up that night because I don't know how to deal with life. I don't know how to deal with feelings, and I was just like, wow, like mum made me a dad, like by her knowledge, and as parents do, they teach her how to be a person, don't they? And she tried her best, and she used to question whether she should have done stuff differently, and you know, and I talked about the year amends, and I sat down with her and I said, look, mum, this isn't nothing to do with you, this is just me. I've got this thing where when I put one in, I can't stop. You know, I didn't go into detail because she doesn't need to understand. She just needs to know that if I continue to do stuff, I'm going to be all right. And she said to me, I'm a year amends, she goes to me, she goes, you don't need to keep saying sorry anymore, son. You don't need to keep saying sorry. And because I used to just be like, stood there just looking and just being like, love, like I felt love again. And I used to look at her and just think, you're amazing, you know, like you are just such an amazing woman. All you've tried to do is just the best for everyone. Yeah. And she's like, people's kids, like people would move in on the street, and next minute they'd be in the back street, and she'd be like, oh, I'm having their kids tomorrow night because they're going out for a meal. And I'd be like, you don't even know him. You've known him 5 minutes. She loved kids. She loves the grandkids. You know, she was Porter's best mate. Like, And she's gone, man. Like, what do I do about this situation? Like, how do I deal with this? And everyone's panicking. About me in Liverpool. It's sad, innit? My mum's just died and everyone's panicking about James in Liverpool. And my brother rings me back. He's like, James, right, what we're going to do is we've got someone, we're going to drive through and we're going to pick him up. And I just went, stop, Ian. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right because I've got this stuff in my life, right? And I'm not going to disgrace mum's name. I'm not going to disgrace my mum's name by picking up. She loved me doing this stuff. You know, I was 4.5 months sober. And we'd gone away to Peppa Pig World. My mum and dad all paid for by them. I can't, you know, they made sure that I'd still provided for Porter when I was in the really bad times. And I was 4 months sober on this journey. I'm 4 months sober and I've gone to Peppa Pig World. And we come back and my mum's in the kitchen and she just goes to me, she goes, you know what, James, you've been absolutely amazing this weekend. And remember, she didn't know about the relapse. So she thought I was a bit cleaner than what I was. And I just went, I just want to be honest with you, Mum. I said, I'm 4.5 months sober. And she went, I don't care. I do not care. Just keep doing what you're doing because I can see a change. Yeah. I can see a change. You know, just keep doing what you're doing. And my mate phoned me up and we discussed the night before about going and watching the football because it was my weekend stay in Liverpool. And he messaged me at 8:30 in the morning. Now, I write a gratitude list every morning. And I found out at 6:30 in the morning, I was writing a gratitude list at 8 o'clock in the morning. Once I'd sort of come a little bit to terms, and I thought, I know what Mum would want me to do. What would Mum want me to do now?
Stick with it.
Keep doing what you're doing. So I'm like, I'm grateful to have a mum who, you know, taught me everything. I'm grateful to, and I just cultivate this gratitude and this acceptance that it's not going to change if I go and do anything crazy now. But what I can do is be present. Like I've been present for all these people in Liverpool in the recovery. I can be present back at home now.
Yeah, what an amount of strength.
And my mate rang me and he goes to me, he texted me saying, do you want to go to the football? What time are you going to the football? And I just went, my mum's died and he went, oh shit. And I just burst out crying. And he, you know, what a great guy. And my other mate just got rallied round me and they made sure I was safe and they made sure I was all right. And we went for food and we were bowling and, you know, I take people through to work now and at this point and I've working with this guy for 2 weeks and he rings me and he's like, he goes, how is your day? You all right? And I went, I'll be honest with you, mate, my mum's just passed away. I said, but don't worry about it. It's not going to affect how me and you are working together.
Yeah.
I said, we'll still be going through the work together. Just know that if I don't know how I'm going to be. But, sorry, as a result of doing this stuff, I'll be all right. I know that as much. And I went and did what, you know, we have these different roles in the meetings, and I went and took that meeting that night that I had a service out on a Sunday, and I took the meeting because that's what's kept me clean. Because all I kept thinking about was, what would my mum want me to do right now?
Yeah, that's kept you going.
That's kept me going. And, you know, my mum died on the 9th of April. Her birthday was the 27th. Wedding anniversary was the 28th. And the way it all worked out, she was getting buried that week. And everyone was like, we're definitely not having it on the birthday. We can't do that. Da-da-da. And I just sat everyone down and I just said, look, guys, I said, it's going to be a tough week, that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very tough week. I said, but how beautiful is it that Mum's at the full circle of life? I said, and we can bring it all round to one day. I said, and it can be the circle of life that day. I said, it's a celebration of Mum's life and what she's done for us as a people and who she was as a person and all the lives that she touched. I said, and, you know, I'm going to put it forward. I think we should have it on the 27th, on her birthday. And everyone just went, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Like, it does make sense what you're saying. And we buried my mum on the 27th of April and this year. And you know, I got up and I believe that there's a power working in my life today that's helped me to stay clean and sober as a result of doing what I do. And I got to read out a prayer that so I'm sat with all the family, yeah. We're sat with the family and we're all downstairs. And they're like, I'm going off to bed now. And they're all sleeping downstairs, all my sisters and my nieces. And he goes to me, and I goes, I'm off to bed now. And I went, stay downstairs with us. And I went, I do these mad things, over night time, no. I said, I have to do like a little prayer just to say thanks for my day and stuff. I said, and I meditate. And they're like, oh, we're not having that. Like, oh, we're not doing that. And it's a joke. And they went, go on, do one of your prayers for us now. So I did one of the prayers, and it's all about accepting the situation and not, accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And my sister just went, would you read that out at Mum's funeral? Now, my family are not religious, but she just found something in that prayer that had been helping me as well. And she could see that it had been helping me. And she said, do you mind, would you read it out at Mum's funeral? And I said, yeah, of course. And I got up there and, and I got to read the prayer out, and I was present, and I turned my attention to how I can help everyone else, and I still went back to Liverpool and still worked with, went to the meetings, and I didn't allow anything to become an excuse. Didn't allow anything to become an excuse, because I tell you what, right, once I get into them excuses, I'll start justifying them till the day's long, and you'll believe in me. I'll be believing me. Everyone around me's believing me, because I'm that. That's what happens to me, and I just kept doing what I'd been doing for the past 13 months. And, today I've been able to design my mum's headstone the way we wanted it, because we had these ideas and we brought it all together. And, it's not been about me and what I want for my mum, because it's my mum. Like, I want my mum to have what I want her to have, and not necessarily what everyone else wants her to have. But I've been able to use the program to allow everyone to have a voice and to say, put something forward and allow everyone to talk. And that's what I've got today. I've got that ability to listen. Because I tell you what, when I first come in, you're telling me something, but I'm thinking about the answer, right? Because I don't want to feel belittled, remember? So I'm thinking about the answer that you want to hear. Yeah, and it was going to blow your mind. And it's amazing. It's amazing to be in the solution and not the problem. And be a solution for people today.
100%.
Seeing them people walk through the door, man. Like, I need to see that. I need people to reach out to me. I'm open to people reaching out just for a chat. I ring people who I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah.
Just because I want to see how they are, and if they and not always do I have to talk about recovery and stuff like that. But I do. But I ring them because I care. I genuinely care, and I want nothing from you, because I've been given all this for free.
Yeah.
I've been everything that I have in my life today is a result of doing this stuff. Because remember, it was, at least he's in a better place.
Yeah.
Once over. Today, it's not about that. It's like, my niece is probably going to hate me saying this, but she likes me when I come over. And she does say to me, oh, you're going back already? And I'm like, yeah. And, she looks forward to me coming home. My other niece is like, always been my best mate, but I couldn't be there for her because I couldn't be there for myself. I couldn't, but I would try and fix you if you were struggling, but I couldn't give you nothing. I have this I have this relationship with my ex where we remove ourselves out of the situation, and we think about what's best for my son.
And how amazing is that?
That's what it's about, isn't it? And when I remove myself out of any situation seems to be very good. But when I start getting involved in the situation, as in thinking about myself and what are my needs, things go awfully wrong.
Yeah.
Anything to do with me thinking about my needs and about myself usually go wrong. So what I've found is, if I make sure that everyone is all right around me, I seem to be all right in myself.
Yeah, and that's such a good way to look at it.
And that's how my mum was.
Yeah.
She made sure that everyone else was around her was okay. She was always all right.
And what a beautiful thing that now you are taking that forward. And, hopefully people that have listened to this, if they are struggling, is that okay that people reach out to you? Absolutely. If they've listened?
Absolutely.
We'll put your details in the description so that they can get in touch with you. But yeah, I'd honestly want to thank you so much for sharing such an incredible story. I could ask you a million more questions, so we probably might have to do a part 2. But you've been absolutely fantastic, and I absolutely love you to pieces.
Love you too, man.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you
for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And if you are struggling, do you know what? One of the things to say to anyone is, if when you honestly want to, can you quit? Or if when you do drink, do you have little to no control over how much you take? Then you give me a shout, because that's what I was doing. I had little to no control over what I was taking. And when I honestly wanted to quit, all them times where I was like, I've had enough of this, I still kept picking up.
Yeah.
And it's not like that today as a result of doing what I do on a daily basis.
It's amazing.
And
I do honestly think that this is going to help so many people. So grateful to you. You're going in my gratitude journal tonight.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, if anybody does want to get in touch, you want some help or support or just someone to talk to, we'll put James's details below. And yeah, hope you've all enjoyed listening.
If you've enjoyed listening to this episode, a like, follow, comment, share and subscribe would mean the world to me. By getting this podcast out there and starting the conversation of sobriety, if I can help even just one person, I'll be happy. So thank you and tune in next time for more amazing stories.